You know when you drop a rock in water, the ripple effect. Events that have happened in my life, things would start coming back to me, memories.
Few things are more comforting than a sense of belonging. For most of Michigan linebacker Ernest Hausmann's life, he longed for just that and an understanding of why.
Why couldn't have I lived my life with my family? I felt like I could never communicate my emotions with anybody.
Ernest Hausmann was born in August 2003 in Uvukila, Uganda, a village about 100 miles outside the capital of Kampala.
It's a third world country where resources are very scarce. In the culture I come from, family means everything. All children have the responsibility to go fetch water for the family.
Life was challenging for Ernest, who was one of 23 children. In 2006, when he was just 3 years old, both his parents were suffering from AIDS and were not expected to live. As the youngest child at the time, Ernest was put up for adoption.
So this is the book that I made when we started this process, when Ernest was in Africa.
Bob and Teresa Hausmann lived 9,000 miles from Uganda and were looking to grow their family. They learned about Ernest through their church, and after a 2-year process, finalized his adoption in December of 2008. The following month, Bob and 5-year-old Ernest made the 27-hour trip to his new home in Columbus, Nebraska.
I could not believe he was here. Just holding him, and he was so afraid. He was so scared, and I just wanted to protect him.
When I came to America, it was the best day of their life. But for myself, it was the worst day of my life. That's when it all hit me, that I may never go back home.
Early on, the Hausmanns would receive updates on Ernest's parents' declining health, but eventually, those stopped. To ease the transition for Ernest, Bob introduced him to sports.
I could feel how blessed I was to have these two parents I was given here in America, but I felt like a guilt because I was the only one out of my 23 siblings had the opportunity to come to America. Culture was one of the biggest problems I faced growing up in Nebraska because now I'm walking into a room where not everybody looks like me. I always wanted to ask why. Why was I given up for adoption?
I flat out just asked him one day, Ernest, are you mad you're adopted today? And he just looked at me, goes, yeah, I think I am. I said, Ernest, you did not get to choose to be adopted, but you will go back home one day. It will come full circle.
Then, as Ernest entered high school, an unexpected development. The Hausmanns received an update on Ernest's birth parents, Paul and Olive, in Uganda.
We did hear about the AIDS vaccine, and we were told that they were now taking those medications and that they were still alive.
Now, the question that's going to come to my mind is, if you were alive this whole 16 years, then why couldn't have I lived my life with you then if you were alive at this whole time?
Ernest sat with that information for years, all the while excelling on the football field. He became a Michigan Wolverine in 2023 and a national champion a year later. But something was missing, so he made a decision.
I've always envisioned and dreamed about the moment I was able to see my family. It's like I played it in my mind millions of times. But now it's here.
In March 2025, after 16 years away, Ernest decided to go home to Uganda and was reunited with his family.
That hug was a moment in my life that I'll never forget.
Ernest has come home. Ernest is reunited with his family.
To just be in the same space talking to them, you can now fully grasp the idea of that you're really loved. More and more time I spent with family, a lot of things started to make sense.
A few weeks later, Ernest returned to the village. But this time, he assumed the role he never could before, providing for his family.
We find the site where we want to drill the water well. When I saw water being out of the ground, that was one of the greatest days of my life. That's the responsibility to go fetch water for the family. It bridged the gap of 16 years. I'm not there, but at the same time, the effect I have here, it ripples off and it reaches them. This is my calling in life. Nothing has been more clear in my life than this purpose.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you. Run fast, run